Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get us started. It is 5:31. Can I get someone to make a motion to accept the agenda, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Debbie. Is there a second? Leo or Craig, thanks. All those in favor of the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. All right, communications with parents, citizens, and staff. Laura.
I guess Hi. My name is Laura King. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Neshabe and currently the president of RNEA. I'm also a longtime resident of Brandon. My kids went through this system, graduated longer than I care to admit. So. Anyway, I'll read the letter that I wrote for tonight, and then if you have any questions or such, feel free. Dear members of the RNESU board, first, as I did last night with members of the OVU board, I recognize the work this body does to address the many needs of RNESU schools. Anyone living in Vermont right now knows it's a challenging time for our small rural districts and neighborhood schools, striving to hold on to the very strong community values that make our schools unique. And I want to thank you for the service you do to the RNESU community. Hi. My purpose tonight is to ensure this board is fully communicating with the OVU board with respect to the content of last night's meeting. The primary focus was the need to immediately act on a member's request to the superintendent for additional paid sick days per Article 4, Section G of our master agreement. Additionally, many other concerns were addressed. We fully recognize there are 3 boards and that this one is composed of representatives of OVU and I always have trouble pronouncing boo-hoo, but anyway, yes. We support and assume that the educator presentations during the community staff portion of last night's OVU meeting will be shared with this board as well. All letters were shared publicly and presented to the individual taking notes for last night's meeting. So that's my hope. Educators across RNESU support the content presented last night. An injury to one is an injury to all, and we are advocating for the overall health and welfare of the supervisory union. We fully believe in the power of a community. We fully believe in the power of a community working together collaboratively to ensure the best for its students, families, faculty, and staff. So please let us know if this board needs further information. I did bring the initial letter if you want it, just that kicked off last night. I have it, a copy if you wanted that. Yeah. Let's see, where did I leave off? I did bring that, should that be needed. So who's the secretary?
So I guess it's going to be me tonight.
Okay, all right. It's the same one from last night.
Okay, perfect.
Just to ensure. But I didn't bring, and I don't have all those copies.
No, we have them.
Okay.
I know Amber has them, and they've been provided to Melinda.
Okay, so I'm just saying I hope that would be shared. That's the main purpose of being here this evening.
Yep. Usually we have, and I think it is on here, that we have an OVUU and a BUU board update. So we provide that, we do share that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the letter I just read.
Gotcha. So yeah, so we do that towards the end of the meeting where we share what the other board is doing or what the other board is dealing with and
I mean, that content, to be honest, it maybe should have started here, but in effect, the member that is most urgently that we're focusing on with respect to the urgent request is part of OVU.
Right.
So that's where it began.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming in and talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak to us? Perhaps someone online. I'm getting a big no. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
All right. So we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Can I get someone to make a motion?
I move to accept the consent agenda.
All right, Barbara. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Debbie, all those in favor of the consent agenda?
At what point could I ask to pull right now?
Before that.
Oh, even before that? Before I seconded?
I was going to ask when I made the motion if anybody wanted to pull anything, so I'm willing to.
What would you like to pull
I'm willing to.
Just for questions, I would like to pull E and F.
E and F. All right,
Yep.
so we're pulling E and F. All right, so are you okay with
I'm
that?
amenable to that.
Okay. And,
Thank you.
And your second is amenable to that too, I'm
I'm
assuming.
totally amenable
All
to
right,
that.
so we are going to, so what we are doing is approving the consent agenda A through H minus E and F. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we have passed the consent agendas. All right, so E, job descriptions. Can I get someone to make a motion?
I'll move that we accept
Okay,
the consent agenda.
and is there a second?
I'll second.
Debbie, okay, and discussion.
Question is, I wasn't aware that approving job descriptions is a supervisory union board responsibility.
It is for our own employees through the RNESU. We do that for our own boards, our BUU job descriptions or OVUU board descriptions.
It's also
Job descriptions.
HR is an RNESU function.
Right,
Okay.
because we do have employees that are specifically through RNESU, so they have specific job descriptions. Just like our Otter Valley and our BUU,
Oh, I see, because they're employees of RNESU,
that's correct.
including the school administrative assistant, the elementary school, because that's an admin position, that's not through a teacher's contract, right?
Depends on what teacher,
So that would be a non-union position.
Right,
And so because RNESU is responsible for HR, they're the repository for job descriptions.
okay,
And so it's RNESU that posts the positions as well.
okay,
And so any job, even if it's specific to one school, has to go through RNESU for the hiring process, the posting process, the onboarding process. And that's why they would come here.
this is just the job descriptions though,
Right.
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
I
so
just
we,
hadn't seen
so we
this
approve
before.
them and then I believe BUU and OVU approve them. So, it's kind of like when we do like a policy change, from RNESU, it has to go to both districts and then it comes back.
And this
to
is by
Rutland.
statute as far as we know? Because I feel like this is more of a management responsibility, is to write and approve the job descriptions. If we're looking at roles and responsibilities, so if it's in
So the
statute.
reason why these are here, I believe, is because these are really the first time that they've been written and shown to the board.
So my question is it necessary for the board to approve the positions?
Or just the job description itself, you
Yeah,
mean? 'Cause
yeah,
it's
the job descriptions. It just seems like a management function, like we don't hire these people, you do.
That's correct.
I don't feel like, reading one, I read them, I glanced at them, but I mean, I don't feel comfortable saying, oh, this is a great position description, go for it. So that's why I'm asking, is if it's required under statute, then I'm happy to do it, but if we don't need to do it, I just feel like we don't need to do it. But
So we would have to find out from Brooke Dolan if those are required by statute.
okay,
Right.
So-
I also feel like it's also good practice. Maybe it could be more in superintendent announcements if need be, but for the board to be aware that if a job description is being produced for the first time, or for example, let's say we create a position, the board should be aware of what it looks like even before we post it. And so these are kind of like positions that we've held just and had very cursory description of what they were supposed to do as part of their job description. Now we have fleshed that out to include things from EQS and things specific to RNESU.
okay. I guess the word approve is also where I'm getting a little hung up. Like if you were just telling us, oh, this is a new position and here's the description, kind of an FYI, then I would feel fine with that. But I mean, again, I just don't feel qualified to approve a job description. So,
More than likely, these will also went through legal to make sure that we weren't missing anything, so it makes me feel like it's a statute kind
okay,
of deal. But we are supposed to talk to Dina tonight, maybe we can ask her
Yeah,
that
we can ask
question.
okay.
Same time.
Well, and I'm happy to support the motion, just in
Okay.
case it is in statute. But moving
Yeah.
forward, if it's not necessary, I guess I would
Sure.
just say, let's handle it differently next year.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Anyone else have any questions regarding the job descriptions?
One last little thing, but it could end up being that, let's say, for example, we, when we have a new hire and it's a position that the board has not necessarily seen before, we need to figure out a way to get that information out there to the board so that they're not, well, I've never seen that position before. And
What does it
they're
do?
they're not taken by surprise. So that could be something that we talk about internally, and figure out what's the best way to get that information to the board members so they're not surprised when a new person shows up in a new position that they haven't seen. I would imagine that would have been quite exciting during the ESSER, money, where we had
ESSER
brand
fund?
new, when Debbie's department had 10, 12 people in it, now she's down to
She didn't even get to be in that, she was principal during that time.
Yeah.
And even better, Lothrop didn't have, we didn't get a whole lot of, I joke about, there was no love, no Esther love. It was just where
Oh,
we
come
landed.
on, yeah.
It was just where we landed. It was what
Yeah.
everybody needed, right? And
Yeah.
we just didn't, I think I take that back, we did have an extra interventionist. But yeah, it's kind of funny. We had all we needed.
All right, good. All right, any other discussion regarding job descriptions? Okay, all those in favor of E, job descriptions, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Moving on to item F, set hot lunch rates. Can I get someone to make a motion to approve?
I move to approve
Barbara?
item F.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
And discussion.
Question, when it says here, that we qualify for the community eligible program and the Vermont legislation has funded all student breakfast and lunch meals for fiscal year 27, therefore all student meals will be at no charge. I'm assuming to whom? Normally it would be a charge to the parents or to the school district?
That's correct. It would be a charge to the families.
To the
Right,
families.
there's no charge to the families.
So,
And we're not.
to the family.
So as long as we take meticulous records, there's no charge, I don't believe
To the
there's a charge to
district.
the school district as well.
Okay. So again, my question is, why do we need to approve the rates if,
My guess is that that's probably,
I believe that's statute.
that's
Required.
probably statute, because if we weren't community eligible, that we would be setting, kind of like we set the tuition rates, we'd be setting the hot lunch
And it's
rates.
also a federal program, so I think that may be why.
is a requirement under the grant?
Under the federal, yeah.
Okay,
Well, and this also says second lunch, so I think it means their first
Yeah,
lunch is
right.
free
If they have
want
seconds.
more
We
food.
used to
Then
call it in high school, seconds.
Yeah. Right.
oh. Huh,
Yeah, that's a second, yeah.
second lunch is,
So maybe if I go to school with my kid, I get to have their second lunch for $4.10. I don't know. Anyway,
it's just curious, and then the adult breakfasts, I mean, they're not being, adults pay.
adults pay, right, but they have,
Yeah.
we have to set the
Set
rate.
the rate, the
Yes,
rate.
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay,
So it's just like setting our own tuition rates,
yeah,
you know.
okay.
Okay. Any other discussion regarding the hot lunch rates? Okay, all those in favor of item F, set the hot lunch rates, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you for that. We are going to move on to a very exciting presentation by our very own communications coordinator, Jill Duty.
Made famous by the Rutland Herald.
That's right, yes, in the Rutland Herald today, here on the front page. That's right, graffitiing Neshabie. So, no, it's Neshabie's mural, sorry. Overview of communications, including advisory committees.
Yeah, Renee's got my presentation.
All
He
right,
wants to
there
pull
we
it up.
go.
Okay. It's this split screen stuff that is. And it showed up on my screen.
Cool.
Hold on.
I haven't had a chance to see the paper today.
Oh, that's cute. The kid playing telephone.
Awesome, thanks Renee. Thank you guys for having me here tonight. I'm glad to, almost 11 months in, I'm glad to get to sit down and talk to you guys a little bit about what I've been doing. There are no tin can phones in my job right now, but maybe we could change that for next year. Go to the next slide, Renee. So if you ask my daughter, who is pictured here, what I do, she likes to tell people that my job is to take pictures of kids and post them on the internet. She is 12 and has quite the sense of humor. That is a very small part of what I do, but there is a lot more. Next slide. I think if you, yeah. So key responsibilities of the communications office, and I say communications office, it's just me. I don't have a department. I don't have an assistant. I don't have an assistant to an assistant. It's just me. These are some of my key responsibilities. I take care of the reach outs, the website updates, emergency communications, social media, budget communications, press releases, community outreach, newsletter content, and branding for the district, on top of other duties as assigned. I'm also the public information officer for the district, so I handle all the FOIA requests. I've been working with Renee and some other district members on Transcend. You've talked about Transcend, so I won't go into detail on that. Just tech support here and there is needed. Next slide. So first up, reach out. I'm sure you are all, as longstanding board members, familiar with our reach out platform. I manage all the reach outs that are submitted through the website, through the form, and forward them to the appropriate person who's responsible. Make sure that these people are also getting timely responses. And, you know, whether it's a question that I can answer directly, which happens sometimes, or a question that needs to be directed to someone else. I do provide monthly reports to the boards, and I check the system regularly to make sure that everything is working right. There was a time earlier in the fall when it wasn't, but we got it fixed. It's good. So this just gives our stakeholders, our communities, a really good, feel safe line of communication to anyone that they want to reach in the district. Do the websites, I guess I should have said, because it's not just RNESU, it's all the elementary schools too. Updating with information as necessary. Our website platform is run by a company called Aptigee, and the kind of subset of that is ThrillShare, which we use for the website and other communications. It's pretty easy to use. I'm not doing HTML coding or anything. It's very what you see is what you get, you know, putting stuff up there, which is great. But it does give us a little bit of freedom to play around with some design choices and stuff. I had a lot of fun in the fall making new graphic banners for the tops. Those are the first things that people see when they come on the website. So form and function. I revamped some of our menus, as you can see in the picture on the bottom there, just to kind of make things a little easier for people to find. There's a lot of information on our websites, and it can be a bit much. I will be working on ADA compliance for the website. Originally we needed to be compliant by next April, so April 27, but things got bumped out another year, so we have till April 2028 for our website to be ADA compliant. Luckily, the platform that we use takes care of a lot of that anyways, but there is stuff on there that will have to work. PDFs are not generally ADA compliant, which is unfortunate. So anything that we have up there before the deadline is okay and doesn't need to be changed. So like the meeting minutes and stuff that are up there, nobody's going to have to go back and fix those going forward. We will have to have them formatted correctly, but like all of our policies and stuff that are all in PDFs, those will all need to be reformatted. The PDFs will need to be redone, or they will just need to be directly embedded in the website themselves. So familiarity with the regulations. There's a great guy, Josh Allen, who works for the DOE, who this is kind of what he does, and he's been coming to our school communicators meetings that we have and talking to us about stuff. So that's been great. And I also, with the help of the IT department, implemented Google Analytics this year, so we can kind of see what people are doing when they come to our websites, know what's going on, know what they're using them for, seeing how many Chinese spam bots we have trying to access our information too. That's a big one. But it's been good to know and good to see, making the information that people are actually coming to look at easier to find.
And it's in 5 languages.
Yes,
I saw that
Yep.
just now. And it does translate it.
it does translate. Yeah, that is nothing to do with me. That's all with the website platform, but it's great.
It is.
Emergency and crisis communications. So crisis is big C and crisis is little c. Snow days, that sort of stuff. When OV has their phones go down or when they have an ambulance on site, communicating that information to our families so that they know what's going on, because gossip spreads fast. You have someone driving down Route 7 who sees an ambulance at OV and stuff spreads. So we have templates. I work with leadership to make sure that messages are out in a timely manner. Michael Ruppel probably calls me a couple times a week with stuff like that. I did do an emergency communications training back in the winter for the OV staff, just to kind of make sure that everybody had kind of a basis of what things look like, because, I'm here, but also if something really big were to happen, more hands is helpful. But yeah, just accurate real-time information. Like I said, ThrillShare is our communications platform that we use through Aptigee, our website. So they're connected, but not, so I can send out messages and updates and stuff that can post to the website, but they also go to families via text message, email, and everybody's favorite snow day phone calls. So.
At 6:30. No.
They were going like 5:45. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're out there.
Yeah.
No, I know.
making
I'm just
decisions.
kidding.
Press releases. I write press releases for big things that happen in the district that we want our communities to know about, giving our media partners media-ready information that they can work with or that they can be drawn in by. Thus, the Rutland Herald article that they did on the Neshabie Mural Project. I have a bunch of partnerships, relationships with our different people in our local media, so that's really helpful to be able to get information out there, because we do have a lot of great stuff going on in our schools. I also 5 times a year, Rutland Herald does something called In the Schools, and they give us a free full page to do. I'll say what we want with it. They do have parameters. We can't talk about budget information if our thing is around budget season. We're not supposed to use it for employment or anything like that. But just to kind of share a little more what is going on in our schools. Newsletter content and flyers. So our principals send out email newsletters weekly or bi-weekly. I make flyers for them all, share them with Debbie and with the principals and with their admin assistants to make sure that information is in there. They're also all things that are completely printable, so that stick them up on bulletin boards and stuff. But and the visually engaging communication, helps draw families in and learn about important information, stuff that we have going on. And our community members as well. And social media, that is a big one. We have social media pages for RNESU, and each of our schools has their own. I am predominantly the one who does the updating on them, although there are some staff and faculty members in the schools who will help out too. Bob at Barstow is a good one. Shauna Lee at Neshabie, they're big helps. But we have Facebook, we have Instagram, and Front Porch Forum, which is social media adjacent. Front Porch Forum I found is a really good one to reach our external members of our community, the ones that don't have that connection to our school. I make the majority of the graphics that go up on there, taking pictures. I want to share our stories out there. Let our communities know all the good things that our kids and our staff members are up to.
Do you have any sense of how many people subscribe to our social media channels that are not directly tied to the schools?
I can't tell.
You can't?
No,
Okay.
Facebook doesn't. I mean, I could probably go through and try and figure it out. It's a range. So I know that the Otter Valley Facebook page has the most subscribers. It has over 3,000 subscribers on it. They're clearly not all students and family members. There are a lot of alumni on there. But yeah, that's not a metric that I can access.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the majority of our viewers are women between 35 and 50. But yeah, right. So again, I mean, social media is critical, right? It is free. I know that if Kevin Thornton were here, he would argue with me about that truly, because it's free, but it isn't, right? But it is free for us to access and to post to, and people really like seeing what we're up to. I did the post with the little otter in the left. I did that last week because graduation's coming up, right? So just asked, hey, what year did you graduate? That image you can see in the bottom, at the time that I took this screenshot, it had 250 comments on it. That is amazing. The content normally does not get that many comments on it, but it was pretty cool. It was a huge range of responses. People from like 1963, I think, was the
That's
oldest
awesome.
one.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
up to last year. So it was really fun just to get people engaged like that. So. These are some of our metrics from our social media accounts. I started approximately around the July 20th thing in the middle, so you can see before and after. These are our 4 biggest accounts. Lothrop and OCA are smaller, so I didn't feature them. But the numbers are similar. Just kind of consistent, regular posting and regular engagement with our communities. Community outreach, so helping Renee coordinate his coffee talks and his library chats has been really great to draw community members in and hear people's voices that we might not otherwise. I've also led outreach efforts for our principal and admin searches, so letting community members know that we are looking for people to participate, gathering their information and sharing that with those who make the decisions. It's not me. Budget communications, annual reports, all that stuff. I mean, the information comes from everyone. Brenda especially is a big help with this sort of stuff, but I'm the one who pulls it all together and makes it look pretty, and has learned that I need to be a little more careful of my text to background color choices going forward.
I was gonna wonder if you were gonna mention that. Don't put yellow and blue together.
No, it was the white on the blue, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, working with district leadership to make sure that everything is accurate, consistent, aligning with, what we're trying to do. Going to board meetings to make sure that I know what's going on, kind of turning all that complex financial information into information that is a little easier for our communities to understand, even if they don't like it.
Did you get any feedback from the Barstow board or from Renee about the flyer this year? Did you hear the positive feedback?
No.
Okay, I will share it with you.
Great.
We got lots of individual comments from voters saying how much they loved this year's, they call it the budget flyer, which I know it's much more than just that.
Okay.
The book.
Yeah.
They felt like the length was right. They loved the images. I didn't hear one negative comment. I just kept getting emails and people stopping me saying, it looks great. It looks
Awesome.
great. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate hearing that.
So thank you.
Great. What's next? Oh, and branding. I was really excited to come into a district where we had already done work around branding and coming up with logos for all of our schools and our boards and everything. Having that kind of cohesive structure to work with is really nice. And it also, breeds familiarity with people. I did a talk on career day with 8th graders, and we talked about branding, and there are some things that you just know when you look at something, you know what the Coca-Cola logo is, it's those mental connections. So that's something that I've really had fun with, trying to encourage other folks who are making materials, publicly shared materials in the district, is use the branding. We use Canva a lot in the district for making materials, and I created brand sections within Canva, so anybody can go on there and anybody in the district can go on there. If they're making a flyer for OV, they have access to the logos and the colors and the fonts and everything to kind of stick with that cohesive identity. and professional development and future goals.
Love that.
Isn't that fun?
It's a great likeness of you.
Isn't it?
You did great.
So I do attend quarterly meetings facilitated by the VPA of other Vermont school communicators. I love those. They're really nice. Like I said, being the only one in the district who does what I do, that's the case for most of them too. So it is nice to go and make those connections and do some learning and be able to just chat with folks. And I am a NESPR member. I attended their annual conference earlier this month in Massachusetts. That's the New England School PR Association. So that was great. The keynote speaker was amazing. I actually won a free membership to her communications group. So that's been really fun. And lots of great sessions and goals for the future. I just want to keep strengthening our community engagement, awareness, and the participation of what we do. I've been talking to Renee about developing a community communications committee next year, having staff members and probably community members at some point, just to meet with quarterly, just kind of bounce ideas off of, but also find some folks in the schools who might be able to help keep me in the loop a little better. Some of our principals are really good at that, but there are others who sometimes I feel like I'm a little more in the dark about things. Possibly having a student intern in the fall to help me with some stuff, an OB student. They have their internship program, and I was asked this fall if I wanted an intern, and after only being here for a few months, I said absolutely not. We also just implemented my Power Hub at the end of last week, which is it's not an add-on really, but it's a revisioning of Power School and the way that our families access Power School to access their students' information. It has a two-way communication module as part of it, so families can message teachers and teachers can message families. It's kind of like texting, so you'll get a confirmation, like know that your student's family has seen the message. One of my goals next year is to provide more translated materials. I know that Debbie and I talked about this, and I talked with Debbie Courts a bit about it too, but just making sure that our ML families have access to materials that they can read and understand and be in part of the community, and to work more towards ADA compliance on our website. All right, I think
That's it, Renee.
So the one thing thank you, Jill. I do want to talk a little bit more about my Power Hub. So my Power Hub is RNESU's response to the social media ban by the legislature to say that any kind of communication that takes place between students and
coaches.
educators and coaches must go through my Power Hub. It has to be within something that's FERPA.
Yeah, it has to be archivable and uneditable.
Correct. And so, because all across, probably all across the country, but even in Vermont, there are going to be situations where teams are communicating through social media, they're communicating via text, they're communicating in ways that are not that don't belong to the school district. So if there's something going on within those text messages, we don't necessarily have a right to them. We have to go and ask courts for them.
Yeah.
And so that was the kind of genesis of moving to my Power Hub, but because my Power Hub has other components that allows more of kind of a parent portal access to things, that makes it a little bit easier. It was killing two birds with one stone. So.
Yeah.
So the My Power Hub for coaches and athletes, is it still through your phone? The communication as far as okay.
Yep, through the phone, or you can access it through the website.
Through the computer, but it's almost like texting through. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's really nice. It creates its own groups because it feeds from Power School based on classes, but you can also create ad hoc groups. Yeah, like just the 12 kids on the varsity basketball team.
Right, or the football team, or the soccer team, whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
And that's different from what's on the agenda, which is advisory committees.
The advisory committees, so that's the community communications committee is where I'm moving with that towards a more external, internal advisory committee, and then the advisory committees for the hiring.
And so.
Oh, for hiring, okay.
Right, and so the community communications committee would be one where we could potentially have an internal one so that we can work on better communication for our internal constituents, and then have a second one for being able to, how can we reach out to others who maybe aren't part of our communication footprint with families and others. And so how we can get more information out to our voters and other community members.
Any questions?
Where can I get that sweatshirt?
I know, right? We should make those.
I hadn't noticed until now, when you had the separate school logos up, that each one has the different shade.
The shade.
Yeah,
color.
shade.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
really
That's
brilliant.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I really like that too.
and so, yeah, sounds like we need a hoodie.
Yeah, we need some merch.
The merch, yeah.
Some
I
merch.
prefer a crew neck, but
All right, well, thank you, Jill, very much.
thank you guys for having me. I'm gonna bounce now and head to our OB for their celebration of learning.
Great.
Oh, yay.
All right, so board professional development, let's see. We have the last 2025-26 policy governance virtual forum, which was rescheduled to Thursday, June 4th at 6 o'clock. That link is in the RNESU calendar. I know some people have been attending those, but
One
this is the
person.
last one. I thought Natalie and Leslie did at one point.
Natalie came to one.
Okay, all right.
And Renee used to come to all of them, but I know he has now a standing
I've
conflict.
got, standing conflict.
But it'd be great to have more board members there because you really do walk away with some good information.
It's really good.
It
because
really is.
It's good cross-pollination.
Okay. And then the other thing, I skipped it, but I'm going back to it now, is the question of discussion of specific RNESU board training needs. There was talk at our last meeting about the consideration of PG rehearsals. We used to do those when we first became policy governance. And so there's been talk about starting those again. The only thing I want to say about that is that I don't like to do them at Otter Valley because I feel like there's so much other stuff going on during a board meeting that a PG rehearsal is not something that I want to take time to do in a board meeting. I almost kind of feel that same way here at RNESU, but I wouldn't have a problem doing these at like retreats or things like that when we're kind of, settling in, figuring out what we want to do for the next year and doing some of this work. But I'm opening it up to you guys, and that's why it's on the agenda, as to how do you feel about policy governance rehearsals and when do they make sense for us to do them?
It does seem like the retreat would be a reasonable time for it. Having just attended a 3.5, 4 hour board meeting last night,
Yeah,
there wouldn't have been any.
right. I would have pushed it off.
Yeah.
I would have been like, whoop, gone.
There were some long meetings this year already. I
Yes.
don't know that we would have had any opportunity for them, and we would have been just tabling them meeting after meeting. And then once you get to the time of year, maybe like at the end of the school year, then people aren't really wanting to stay at a long meeting or to do that. They want to get outside. So a retreat.
Well, and I feel like our community, when they're watching us on camera or they're here at a meeting, they don't want to watch us, practice a policy governance rehearsal. They want to see us actually doing something for our district. So that's why I'm just saying I don't have a problem with doing these. I just don't. I feel like they need to be done when we're, kind of
internally focused.
Yes,
on
internally
our own
focused on our
process
own.
or our own
yeah.
whatever professional development.
So, and we do have a retreat coming up in August. So
For sure, for the RNESU board.
yeah,
Okay, good.
we'll have one for you. But probably we'll have one.
We set a date on Monday
Okay.
for the summer. Do we know the date yet for that?
We usually do it on the third Wednesday of August. We keep it.
The third Wednesday of August.
If that doesn't work, we sometimes go out to the fourth Wednesday, depending on how close we are to the end of the year and if people have vacations before school starts.
I can do so that's August 19th.
Okay.
Can I block that off, Lori, in my
So
calendar?
the only other thing is school starting on the 26th then?
Yes. We talked about this on Monday. We had to go to the school calendar. We just said, because we're having our
Okay.
retreat on the 24th.
Okay.
So school starts the 26th.
So I almost might say that we, unless Renee, because it is the first day of school and you'll be busy with that, I almost want to say that that's when we would have our retreat. Is the
The 19th.
19th.
well,
Not the
no,
first day of school.
Well, I'm thinking you guys might be on vacation on the 19th. I don't know before school starts.
Me personally, I think I am back from being on
Okay.
vacation.
Oh, well then let's stick with the 19th.
Yeah, and I think that all three of them were on in the same week last year, and that is the week of when school starts.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a,
Right. So it's busy. I know, busy time.
yeah.
So are you all okay with the 19th? Greg, Leo,
I'll put it in.
how does that work for your schedules?
The 19th works for me.
Okay.
Looks open now.
All right. So let's just plan on the 19th of August being our board retreat.
Do you have that at Outer Valley? Is that where that happens? Or is it?
Our board retreat probably will still be here because it's just going to be us.
And
When is the Outer Valley board retreat?
Depends on when I feel like it. No. and I hate to say, so I don't know. We'll figure that out. We
Okay.
haven't figured that one out yet. But we are meeting all summer too, Outer Valley. If you hadn't, yeah, I did say that at the last.
right now it's scheduled, it's on the calendar right now for the 25th, which is the day before.
The day before school, which I don't know that we want to do that. So
No.
yeah, so we'll probably.
Missed that.
I bet you just tuned it out when I said that during the May
Did.
4th meeting or whatever meeting it was.
Probably.
Yeah,
yes. Maybe my
14th.
reception
May
wasn't
5th.
so good in the
Right, May
car.
5th. You were like, "What? I don't hear you."
No.
Yeah, we're
sorry.
working all summer, but RNESU is not. So
Okay.
we'll have a meeting in June, and then we'll take the month of July off.
And would it be in the evening, like 5 to something, like we do?
Probably, yeah.
5,
I
so-
mean, do you want to still keep it at 5:30? Would that be better for you?
5:30 works if I'm coming from work. It's a.
Okay.
Yeah.
That,
So-
but if it's in a retreat, it's gonna go much later.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, if we can do it earlier.
What was that date
Yeah.
again?
The
24th.
possibility exists that I will have someone who can cover the last
Okay.
part of the day.
What's the earliest that people could get here? Like, if I said 4, would people be like, can't do it?
I could do it.
I mean, I'm the most well, I don't know about.
Well, and I'm asking Leo and Greg, is 4 o'clock a possibility for the retreat
In August.
in August?
Yes, for Greg.
Okay. All right. So I might plan for like a 4 to 7, or 4 to 8.
And if we want to tie in a regular meeting too,
Well,
then
yeah.
we'd have to make it at least 3 hours.
Right,
You
so
have
probably
2
4
hours
to
for
8.
Yeah, 4 to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we're doing on the 19th of
I'll
August.
put it in as 4 to 8.
Okay. All right. And then if there is specific training that you want, other than, and give me some ideas of what kind of policy governance training or rehearsals that you're looking for, specifically, so that we can get those set up.
Do you want to have it facilitated or a
Well-
a person who can guide us in policy governance a
It's
little bit?
possible. I mean, I think if we
Have a
did,
budget.
we would look at, are you the VSBA policy governance guru?
It would be Jeannie.
It would, okay, but she's
I
not
would-
free, right?
She is free.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I think she's even in Vermont that week.
Okay, so we'll reach out about that.
Okay, yeah, let me know, because
She's still living in like North Carolina. Or
she lives in South Carolina,
South
but just
Carolina.
over the state line.
Okay.
And I am like I oversee Jeannie at VSBA, so you
Okay.
would reach out to me if you want to hire her. It'd
Okay.
be fine. I can make that happen.
Okay, all right. Well, if you want to reach out and just see if she's available that day, then we can go from there. All right.
I know I said yes to the date, but could you confirm the date again for me one more time?
Sure, August 19th, 4 to 8 p.m.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Here.
Here at central office.
Yep.
And we'll have food of some sort.
Yay.
I know, always have to have food. All right, so I'm going to move on from that. We do have 2 executive limitation monitoring reports to look at. The first one is monitoring report 2.6, asset protection. Can I get someone to make a motion to accept that monitoring report, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Barbara. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Goodness, it's the Barbara and Debbie.
It's easier to do when you're in the room.
I know, right? I know, I get that. All right, discussion or conversations, questions?
So this one was brought back by the Barstow board, and then we brought it back also for the RNESU board because of some of the language in 2.6.1 and 2.6.2, because the language was probably very much, it's boilerplate language from someplace else. So when these executive limitations were written, the boilerplate language became part of the policy. And so as a result, a couple of things that are boilerplate are number one, there's a statement in there that it's ensured that we'd be insured for at least 80% of replacement value and against liability. So the quick answer to that is that we are covered for 100% of losses. So we're way above that 80%. The other question that came up was what is a comparable organization? So it's really any other school district and any kind of statutory requirements under VSA 16 VSA 1756. And then the last one had to do with unbonded personnel access. This is in 2. Unbonded personnel access to material amounts of funds. So school board members and the finance officer or the finance director and the superintendent are all considered bonded officers or bonded personnel, meaning that there's insurance covering us when we're handling a material amount of funds. And so that insurance does exist. Okay. So that is why that one, and now that those clarifications have been made, and there's also, if anybody would like to see, we've also included a link to, or I don't know if it's in here, but it was definitely in the Barstow materials with the link to our entire insurance policy, so that people can review it on their free time.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking that extra time to do it too.
Oh.
Any other questions or comments for Renee? Okay, then all of those that accept monitoring report 2.6 asset protection, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, monitoring report 2.6 is accepted. We also have monitoring report 2.10 on safety. Can I get someone to make a motion to accept that monitoring
I
report?
move we accept the monitoring report.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second.
Oh.
Oh, ooh, he tried to get you. Whoa. All right. Discussion.
So this is our, thanks to recommendation by Jess from the OV board, we created this new, the new display of the executive limitation. Let me see if I can, well, I'd have to share first before. And then I have to wait a beat, and then I have to remember that I have to drag it to the screen for people in the room to see.
Oh.
Okay, so this way now when there, I'll have the policy language on this side and then the interpretation right next to it as opposed to below it. So it's much easier to keep score at home if that's something you're interested in doing. And then along the way, rationale remains the same, but then the data is right next to it. Right next to the observable conditions, so it's easier to find, so you don't have to read the stuff, go, hey, where is that, then scroll down to find it. And as Debbie identified from, I think it's from this document, from the emergency operator, no,
It was the
drill information,
the
this
drill,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, so the 24-25 drill information is what we keep a hold of, and we are required to keep on file for years in case anybody from the state wants to come and see it. And so in that particular one, we noticed that there was some information that was lacking from Barstow, and Bob is in the process of finding out the information that needs to be fulfilled. But for the rest of the schools, the drill information is there.
How diggity.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this new format. It's so much easier to follow.
Okay, any other discussion? Questions for Renee? All right, then everybody who accepts monitoring report 2.10 on safety, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Awesome. All right, we're moving on to governance style. We are moving along. I think we're even on time. Holy shit, we are. All right, look at that. So we are looking at 3 of our own board policies tonight. The first one being 4.1 governing style. One of the things we did at Otter Valley, and so I'm now doing over here, is that I have asked Melinda to update the time period being monitored to the monitoring time that we're doing right now, which is May 25 to 26, and that anything that was in here from last year is in red.
Okay.
So when you're looking at it online, obviously when you print it out, unless you have a color printer, you can't tell. But online you can see that anything is in red is from last year. So if there's updates that need to be needed, or if you see something that you want to change or needs to be changed, let us know. This, so anyway, so I'm looking at governing style.
So I have an observation and a suggestion. Maybe I'll do the suggestion first. We have 3 to do tonight, and if we're going to do them as a group, it's going to take quite a while because I did kind of go through and make remarks in every box, and I don't even know how to change the document because it's in a PDF right now.
Right.
So that's our first obstacle. My suggestion then would be at Barstow what we've done, and maybe we just scratch this. We decide to do this when we get to our retreat in the summer, but we set up a monitoring schedule where we just assign the different policies, the board policies, that is, to individual board members to prepare this sheet, and it's done on a Google Doc, and then they send it to the board as part of the board packet. And then we have a chance to review it ahead of the meeting, and then if we have any questions, especially this is a different template than the one we use. We could also talk about changing the template. We don't have the interpretation column. We have the policy wording, and then examples of where we did this, and then the last column is areas of improvement. And so it just makes the meetings a little bit less long and more efficient. Sure. And so like tonight, I would love to dig into all these policies, but I think it would take quite a while. So reactions to that before I
just said we were on time.
I
No,
know.
I'm just kidding.
that's why I don't want to blow
No,
this.
I get
mean,
that.
I'm happy to maybe do one together as a group tonight, but I'm wondering
It's
if
like a useful thing to do at least one of them tonight.
to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one do you want to do?
Could we just go in order and do governing style first?
Yeah.
So, but I can't change it it's a PDF.
That's okay. I mean, what it boils down to is that, I mean, I have this here, you have your notes. So, and we decide usually what I do is I write it on mine, and then I give it to Melinda, and she cleans it up for us.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to say, if I could, I found this exercise to be challenging compared to doing it at the district level. And I was trying to figure out why that is. I was having a hard time finding examples. I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm recently back on the board, so I'm not as familiar with, I have been here for 6 or 7 months. So maybe I was just having trouble finding evidence because of that. But then I read our global end statement for the SU board, and I don't know if you've looked at it but for a while, but let me just read it. So RNESU exists so that the BUU and OVU school districts have the leadership and infrastructure resources needed to achieve their respective global ends at a cost determined by the districts. And then we list all 6 of the, or more than 6 areas, right? And that's how we did the budget, which makes perfect sense to me. So when I read this statement, I feel like our board, this board, is really a support board to the districts, right? And our charge and our responsibilities are significantly different from the district boards.
That's true.
And these policies, I think the policies in our policy manual reflect more of a district board than an SU level board. And so that's why sometimes when I'm looking at the policy, I'm like, I don't see how that applies to the SU board. And so
That may be why we didn't fill them in.
it could be.
To be completely honest, I mean, because we looked at it and went, well, wait a minute, we don't do that here.
Yeah, I mean, so that feels,
So,
Funny.
well, so let me ask you this: if that is if you wanted to look at it under the lens of the SU board and how, we are a support board because essentially we support the 2 districts by providing all of those shared resources,
right.
then at that point, does that mean that some of these policies need to change or that some of it needs to be taken out?
I feel like we should rewrite the whole policy manual for this board. And
I just quit.
and when I say, I don't
You say we.
it's me and the mouse in my pocket.
Well, maybe the 3 of us can sit down, and see what that is going to entail.
Yep.
And if there's anything the administration can help with, that we can take that on and then just kind of keep coming back
And
to you guys for advice.
right, and maybe this is something that we really start at our retreat, maybe with Jeannie's help.
Or maybe it's summer work.
Well, right, yep.
That we could have a meeting with Jeannie before summer and say we'd like to rewrite our policies. I don't think we need this many policies, to be honest. I feel like as a board, yes, we need to be very, there's only, I would say, I didn't count, but I'd say a handful of policies that are relevant to this board.
Well, we
And
still have the governing style, we still have agenda
Exactly.
planning, we
Yeah.
still have.
the board job description.
Right, yes,
and
we still have
conflict-
that
yes.
stuff. But it may be different because
The-
our board description is different than necessarily a board
Right.
at the district level.
Because so much, like you'll see under this governing style, sometimes we're trying to say our outward vision versus, internal preoccupation. Well, we don't really do that work at this level. We are kind of more internally focused because we have to be as the RNESU board, as an SU level board. What I'm also thinking is looking at statute, which is the supervisory union board responsibilities and statute under 16 VSA 261, like where it lists our primary responsibilities and just trying to crosswalk those with policies and making sure that the policies reflect our statutory obligations. And I think Jeannie could help us with this, rewriting our policies. And maybe then people will be less resistant to monitoring them because it's hard if it's not working. And I heard what Kevin said at the last meeting. He feels like it's kind of a waste of time. And I appreciate that. And I was trying to, I wish he was here because I think part of his frustration is that the policies don't work for an SU board.
Well, that's not the only reason.
No, that's,
That's not the only reason.
he's hated it from
He doesn't like policy governance. He thinks this is just a waste of time in total.
universally.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So I'll just be,
we are a policy governance board, so we have to follow it.
Yes, we are.
So-
Yes, we do.
yeah.
I have something I wanted to bring up in the governing style because I feel like this is where we monitor ourselves.
Yes,
correct?
right.
Exactly.
And look at how we're doing.
Sure.
So I have concern that it took us 6 months to become compliant with the Vermont state law because of this board, because of things happening at this board. And that concerns me, right? Because aren't we supposed to be compliant? Isn't part of our policy policies to be compliant with
Well,
the
to be
law?
fair, we thought we needed to have 4 out of the 6, and if we only had 4 people here and we only had 3 people say yes, then we would have been fine.
Yeah,
So
but I mean-
that was an issue with that, because it would have passed a lot sooner than that 8 months.
But are we in the practice of arguing against actual law? I mean, that's my question is, are we really allowed to have a 6-month debate over a thing that is a law that we are required to be compliant with?
Well,
I
right.
don't feel like we should be in those weeds.
I
Like,
can't force people to vote just because it's a law, unfortunately.
But, I mean, if we were not in compliance with like federal law surrounding like
Right, we wouldn't get our
special
title
services.
funds. Right, no
Right.
title
There's,
funds.
I mean, maybe this is like, it's a toothless law and that's why we, but still, it has teeth in the consequences that could befall like the librarians who aren't being, so, and any time that happens, we're putting ourselves at risk, or we're putting our staff at risk. We're putting the professionals that we hire at risk because of an ideology that one person is bringing to the table. And that seems dangerous to me. I mean, there's a lot of risks we take when we allow, entertain, I mean,
It's not allow or entertain, but again, we can't we can't force someone to vote a particular way.
no,
You know what I mean? It is a democracy. That's why we vote.
right, but where does that end when there's a law telling us what we have to?
Well, see,
adopt?
they're an elected official, and so we don't have. Although this board is not an elected official body, our board members elect the people to this board.
Yeah,
So, but I don't know if that also would allow us to be like, we have a board member who just won't play nice, so we bring it back to our district board and say,
yeah. There's not a lot of scrutiny of us as RNESU board members by our board. I mean,
Right. No.
the 3 of us got like lump nominated.
yeah, right.
That's.
But it's a good point you bring up, because the very first phrase in this policy is the board will govern lawfully.
Exactly. Yeah.
We really didn't.
No, we didn't. And I'm mindful of what the position that puts the librarians in. I mean, it's putting them.
Or any group, depending on what
Right,
it is
well,
that we're fighting.
yes,
But
and
this
that's-
was a
and that-
specific,
yeah.
that was a specific,
And it doesn't feel like we're doing our due diligence to protect the employees of the district if we're dragging our feet.
so then what you want to say is that in
I would say
that
this
first
is
box,
problematic.
you want to put that as an example of where we didn't follow it.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's room for improvement. I don't know what that room is. I don't know what the path to that
Well,
improvement is.
I think it was a parliamentarian mistake we made, the way we
Yeah.
counted the votes, and so our room for improvement is now we know better.
Yeah.
And hopefully that won't happen again.
Yeah,
Right.
yes.
I think we've already kind of self-corrected for that.
We did.
But I feel like we should report it in our monitoring report.
And next year it'd be good to report it, and I would like to note it too, that we did not.
Yeah.
What was that? It was what was it? What was the actual verbiage? It was
Media, I just saw it today. You mean the bill? Not
Yeah.
the bill, the policy. It was Act 150.
thank you.
It was a bill, sorry.
Okay.
Staying in that box, do you want to just go through it? I couldn't come up with any examples of A because it's outward vision. That's kind of the ownership linkage. I mean, we do have outward vision in terms of public comment, but that's not really outward vision.
You said A. Where's A?
Oh,
Sorry,
in that-
A
in
in
that
that
top
first
box.
box.
Oh,
That was where I felt like it wasn't quite applicable to this board, because it's more talking about the vision of the districts, you know.
well, the RNESU is supposed to have an outward vision as well. That outward vision is to make sure that we are righting the ship so that both of the districts can also be going in the right direction.
True.
So there's still, because we do have an RNESU vision that is not part of either of the two districts.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You know, so we have the RNESU vision and mission statements. I have no idea where they are, but we do have those
Okay.
There's something behind
And
you.
they'll
I
be-
don't know if
and
that's
they'll
On
what
the
it is.
border from,
from RNESU. RNESU has a vision and mission statement, so we do have an outward,
recently.
And we'll revisit those as we write the strategic plan.
right.
Is the poster behind you the thing?
No, those are
No.
the
No, okay.
North Star.
Yeah.
B, encouragement of diversity of viewpoints.
I think we do that.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, does everyone feel like they get heard and listened to? Uh-oh. Leo?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
And we had a shrug in the room. Craig and Leo, do you feel like you have an opportunity to be heard virtually? It must be a little challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's not challenging, it's fine, but virtual attendance.
Okay. And Leo, you said you feel like you've been heard?
Yeah.
Okay. And you do a good job as chair, soliciting everybody's opinions before a motion is taken,
Good, yes.
voted on. Strategic leadership more than administrative detail. Again, we're supporting the strategies at the district level. I'm not sure how much of a strategy we have.
Well, so we don't get into the administrative details of the superintendent or of central office, because that is essentially what we overlook.
Which is more D, clear distinction of board and superintendent roles.
Well, it's also the leaders, I mean, we're not telling them how to do their job. And that's what RNES do. If you think about it, the BUU and OVUU doesn't have any real control over what central office does because they're not in control of it. Because they're just a district. We're the ones who are in control of the superintendent and then he is in control of all of everything underneath of it.
Has authority over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like D, there is clear distinction between the board and superintendent because it's reflected in our agendas. And our discussions are very much at kind of a governance level versus a management level. Where we got tripped up was that policy draft that came to us a couple of meetings, acceptable use of electronic internet and AI resources, where we all, and I was part of it, talked about it and recognized later that really was something that belonged in procedures and an admin memo, it wasn't a policy per se.
Right.
So we still can make mistakes. Collective rather than individual decisions are reflected, I think, in our motions, right? Future rather than past or present. I think we are future oriented when we talk about our budgets and planning for the future year. Budget meetings, proactivity rather than reactivity. Again, when we're setting our budgets, we're being proactive. We're trying to get out ahead of things. I couldn't come up with any other examples. Barbara, do you want to do number 1? The board will cultivate a sense of group responsibility. Or talk about it.
Yeah, let me just. I mean, I think we do this, I'm not sure, I'm not really sure how to interpret it, other than we meet as a group, we make decisions as a board. I don't think we defer too much to individuals, if that's the issue in this particular part of the policy. Yeah, I think we are doing okay with that.
I like that term, excellence in governance, or excellence in governing. When I think about this board, I feel like there is a lot of that, such as our working relationship with the superintendent, as our CEO. And we did start through DQS, the governance standards this year. We did a self-assessment, remember that? I think that was right when I came on in November.
Yep. Mhm.
Yep. So that's part of excellence in governing, is board self-evaluations are important to that. In terms of group responsibility, I felt like we worked very well as a group when we did the teacher negotiations this past year. That worked well, because it was this board that had to approve the contract, right? Plus each member, but I remember sitting here in the summertime when we were all hot and sweaty and trying to come to an agreement with the teachers, but I felt like we worked well as a whole board. I didn't feel like it was very splintered. There was disagreements and differing viewpoints, but we knew we had a job to do and we got it done, basically. So I would use that as an example. And number 2, the board will direct, control, and inspire the organization through careful establishment of broad written policies. I put not applicable because we have our policies written. The board's major policy focus will be on the intended long-term impacts outside of staff organization, meaning the ends. Again, we do that by supporting our district boards, not so much at this table. We don't really do that. This is one of the policies I think would need to be revised. Same with A. Anything for 2 or 3?
No, nothing stands out. I mean, like I said, my concern was over the not being in compliance with the law, and not understanding quorums and votes properly. But now that we've got that figured out,
I think
we're on the right track.
I think 3, we're all coming to meetings prepared and we're attending as much as we humanly can. We respect rules for the most part, I think, and I hope you feel respected as our chair, and as our superintendent.
Except during these times.
And then I think for continual board development, we haven't had any new board members at this board for a while, at least in the last year. I think that we could use more of it, possibly, but maybe not. I don't know.
Well, board development. Well, we talked about that. I mean, that's where we talked about the PG rehearsals and
Right.
I just don't feel, like I said, I don't feel like doing them during
A meeting,
a meeting.
I got
I just don't,
right?
So, but I don't have a problem with doing them. I just think that they are for a time and place, not when we're in the throes of,
And there's so many other ways to do board development.
Sure. Yeah.
And the policy governance forum is one of, and it would be, if that were to run again next year and RNESU decides to sign up for it, then I think I would strongly encourage people to go. we don't have any committees, so number 5 was kind
We
of.
do, we have negotiations.
Oh, that's true. We do have negotiations.
Because that is an RNESU
That's right.
committee. But again, we don't let them hinder, we fulfill our group obligations. And
Yeah, they're very good at advising us. Who was on that committee? It was Leslie?
Leslie, Brett, and Kevin Thornton.
Okay.
And then, did you have someone from your board?
We had Jeff.
Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff
that's right.
Spalding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed to be good.
Yeah.
And then I think number 6, we're doing it now.
Yeah.
We're starting to do this in earnest by policy monitoring, but also through that DQS governance standards self-assessment, which I know the AOE is going to expect us to do again this year. We just haven't heard.
A self-assessment?
Yeah, for the governance standards. Have you heard? Nothing, right? I don't know if the rubric's
Crickets.
the same. I don't know.
AOE?
Yeah.
I'll ask Aaron, Aaron Davis will be there tomorrow, so,
Oh, she will?
yeah.
Oh,
so
good.
We can ask her. It's not in her purview, I think.
No,
it'll be
it's in-
Jill's. I think it'll
It's
be-
not even in Jill's, it's in Ian Burfoot.
But he's in somebody's department.
Yeah. Yeah, they were supposed to let us know if they're gonna revise that rubric and when they need to have it completed again. And I begged them to give us more than 2 months' time because we schedule in the summertime, right? We do our annual work plans and then just to drop it on us in September, expect it to be done by November, whatever, was really not fair last year. And it defeats the whole purpose because the idea of doing the self-evaluation, it gives us a chance to talk as a board about how we're doing with each of those criteria and are we meeting proficiency or not? And if we're not, how can we do it better? But it was such a rush job. I know that I think your board, you guys just kind of, I don't even think you guys, I was here, that was my first meeting and you said, well, if anybody has anything to say about it, let's do it, now, but we just didn't have time to dig into it,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping we'll have more guidance. A girl can hope. So see, that does take a while to do it as a group, so I'm thinking we just kind of think about a different system for next year.
Okay, so are we moving on to 4.2 or 4.3, or do we want to move past
I would
those?
suggest,
Tabling it.
Okay,
and then figuring out how we're going to rewrite them.
okay. All right, so we do have a PG policy for action. It's the first reading, which is 2.3.9 asset protection. That was to move, it had to do with a single unbudgeted purchase or commitment. We need to change that from 15,000 to what the new limit is in 16 VSA 559. So we just changed it to include that language so that we won't have to change it every time they change the number.
That's great.
Okay?
Charge cord, you're back.
Right. So, any discussion? I need someone to make a motion to approve.
I move we approve.
All right, Greg and Barbara.
I'll second.
Thank
Yep.
you. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor of 2.3.9 asset protection with that change, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. It will come back one more time, just so you know. And the last one is 4.5 board members code of conduct. It's up there on the screen. We removed a line and changed it. Members must act in the public interest without regard to the interests of staff, other organizations, or any personal interests, while maintaining accountability to the owners of the supervisory union and member districts. So, I do need someone to make a motion for that as well.
I move we accept
I agree with
4.5.
this much better wording.
All right.
I'll
So
second
Greg and Barbara. All right. Any discussion?
Yeah, I don't like it for one reason, and that is,
Because it says must twice.
no.
Members must.
That's it.
Because it does say that actually.
Oh, yeah, it does.
I would suggest that we get rid of one of the musts.
Yeah, well, that would help. Where did it come from? Who wrote it?
I think that's what came out of our last meeting, because we talked about it, because we wanted to change the wording, and I believe that's why that's there, because I didn't just make it up.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Oops.
Well, and I'm trying to remember what the objection to the original policy language was. Was it the word loyalty?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the public interest is what trips me up because I'm waiting for it to come back up.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, it's fine. Members must act in the public interest without regard to the interest of staff, blah, blah, blah. Actually, we act in the interest of the district, not of the public. And we, if we're gonna, our policies speak to representing our owners, right? We govern we govern according to the wishes of our owners. However, at the end of the day, we also govern as trustees of this district because the voters have entrusted us to do what's best for the district. And so I don't think I don't think the word public interest is quite right here.
Well, I still think that in my regard, I think we still have to say that we act in the public interest because that's why we're here. You know, all of our tax dollars come from the public.
Right.
You know, so even though we are members from each of our member districts to make up this board, we still are elected by our communities. And so we are at this board still acting in the interest of the communities, not necessarily the districts. Does that, because
I think as trustees of the district, we're entrusted by the public to do what's best for the district. And that hopefully there won't be many times when we have to choose one over the other, but I can think of budgeting as an example where if you ask most voters, they say our property taxes are just too high, don't raise them at all. But if we were to do that, that would hurt our district. And so we don't do that.
yes, but so in that regard, I would tell you that we are looking out for our public and our district at the same time because it's not necessary. I don't want to say that the public doesn't understand, but we know what we need to
Exactly.
do so that we are doing what's best for both. Even,
We are acting in the public interest even
though they may not think we are. Do you?
yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, it's just like any kind of board is that you get elected or you get put on there and you're supposed to be doing this for the right reasons. And so you may have very specific reasons for making a decision, and the way that you're looking at it is because it's in the public interest, not necessarily because it's for the district, even though it is also best for our districts. Because when we do all of this stuff, we do it in the interest of our kids, which is also in the public interest.
Yeah, there
It's
are
not just the
beneficiaries.
district, because at the very end of this, the reason that we do all of this, or the reason that we should be doing all of this, is for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, so that is our public interest. Whether and communities, and it all wraps up into one big ball, but it's not. I don't think we can look at ourselves here at the supervisory union that we only look out for our districts, because we can't just look out for our districts because it's our kids at the end of the.
I agree with that 100%, Lori. So therefore, that's why it makes me uncomfortable to say the public interest. Because I think it's the interest of our students, to the best interest of our students.
Well, we could say that, and
Act in the
must act in the interest of our
The best interest of our students.
right, in the best interest of our students, without regard to the interests of staffs, other organizations, or any other personal interests. We can make that change.
Okay.
I mean, as long as everybody else is okay with that. Leo, Greg,
I am comfortable with it, let's call it as edited, because I'm seeing the public interest as a distinction away from interest of staff, organizations, or personnel, and not larger, not, the state public. And, I think calling it, there could be an argument for what's best for the student or the best interest of the student. I'll put it as an example that's unaffordable.
Okay.
And so that would put us at odds because we could always do more to the best interest of the students, but we are constrained in certain ways.
well, I would, oh, go ahead, sorry, finish.
So anyway, I see the last phrase says maintaining accountability, but I'm still comfortable with the use of the public interest phrasing.
Okay. Because I would say that, like you said, that last line says that we have to maintain accountability to the owners, which means that we have to make it affordable.
And we are accountable to them. And
Yes.
if they don't agree with what we're doing, they can vote us out.
Bingo. And they can vote down our budget.
Or they could vote down the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I see that, I understand that accountability isn't just financial.
No, that's true.
And so anyway,
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it as edited.
Okay. What about you, Leo?
I like it as edited too.
Okay. All right. So I'm here, and what about you, Barbara?
Yes, having looked at it, I think it's okay, just the way it's edited, yeah. I mean, it's, looking at anything like this is so open for interpretation, no matter how you
Well, that's
choose the
true,
wording,
yeah.
you know. You can always
Yeah.
say, what does that mean? What does that mean? What is the public interest? What is the best interest of students? I mean,
Well, right. I mean, we could say that members must educate our kids to be academically proficient without regard to the interests of staff, other organizations. But again, at the,
yeah, but that's
you know,
not, yeah.
but, okay.
When people are saying as edited, they mean like this? Or,
Yeah, they're like that.
or as the best interest of our students?
No, I believe that Leo and Greg are both saying they like the wording that's here on the screen. And correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Correct.
Are you okay with it being?
I just don't think public interest makes, it changes the meaning of the original policy, because the original policy is demonstrating loyalty to the ownership, unconflicted by loyalties to staff, blah, 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 blah. That means something very different from acting in the public interest.
And I don't know that even the original policy said much about, it didn't say anything about students. I mean, loyalty to the ownership is not necessarily the student's best interest either. So we weren't there in the first place, and now we're maybe still not there in the revision. But
Well,
the
here's,
policy is also like a code of conduct that isn't directing us necessarily to be.
it's supposed to be telling us to be cognizant of what our charge is, which is to make sure that we have the resources available for our students.
Yeah, it's
But
not-
here's something that I would say in the interest of time. This is only the first reading. So we could approve this reading and then come back in June, because we have 30 days, and look at actually, we wouldn't see it again until August, because it won't be 30 days by June 17th, because we'll be a couple days shy. And we can reword it at that point, if there's some wordsmithing that we want to do.
And this is, I mean, the objective of this code of conduct is primarily about not letting our own, like not having there be a conflict of interest or acting against what we were elected to do based on our personal whatever.
The other thing we could do is we
motivations.
could table it and just look at it again in June, and take some time to, if Debbie really, we could vote and we could be 4-1 and move it along, but we could also take some time and think about other words that you wanted to say.
Well, I interpret the original policy as that it's an individual board, this is individual board members' code of conduct, not the whole board, okay?
That's right.
So individual members must demonstrate loyalty to the ownership. That's right, the owners of our district, our taxpayers and voters, unconflicted by loyalties to staff, so other organizations or other personal interests as parents or guardians. So we're basically saying we need to act in the respecting the wishes of our owners and not letting personal interests as a parent of a student in the district or a spouse who happens to work in the district, right? I mean, we need to be mindful of.
We also have to be mindful of the fact that we may be friends with lots of staff, and that can cloud our judgment sometimes.
Right. So that is clear to me, but when I see the word public interest, then I feel like it just changes the meaning from the original intent.
So looking at that, so I don't know what is the more important phrase, or I think is the idea of the demonstrating loyalty to the ownership, the more important phrase in the original, or is the second one the most important phrase of unconflicted by loyalties to staff, etc. And so, because I think you get across the same message if you say members must act unconflicted by loyalties to staff, other organizations, and other personal interests as parents or guardians. Because I think that gets you to why that was created. I think demonstrating loyalty to the ownership and acting in the public interest are kind of getting in the way of what this particular statement within the code of conduct was intentionally designed. And I think, I don't know, Barbara, if it was you who was talking about it, it's really just trying to say, do not let conflicts of interest get in the way of you serving as a board member.
Right, yeah, I think, I agree with you, that seems to be what the objective of the code of conduct is, and I have, looking at this now, the old policy, the demonstrate loyalty, that's sort of a problematic wording. I'm gonna agree with Kevin on that it sounds, it's hard to, I know what it means, but it seems like a strange wording, but take it out and we have to act unconflicted by other loyalties, without regard to.
So are you thinking of changing it to just say members must remain unconflicted by loyalties to staff, other organizations, or any personal interests as parents or guardians? Or do you want to say that members must remain unconflicted without regard to the interests of staff, other organizations, blah, 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 blah?
Oof.
Because of the word loyalties, trying to avoid the word loyalties.
Well, I think that's what we're really talking about, is that you want to get rid of those 5 words, demonstrate loyalty to the ownership.
Yeah.
But what about the second loyalties? Unconflicted by, does that bother people having loyalties there?
Where's the second? I guess
It's part of the crossed out. It says unconflicted by loyalties. I mean, I wasn't as problematized by that because it's like I'm not demonstrating it. I'm just, it's like it's used as a, I don't know.
Well, I mean, Right. I mean, maybe you just want to say members must remain unconflicted. Well, by loyalties.
The very next policy, just FYI, it talks about conflict of interest.
Right.
So it's all about, it's the ethical duty of school board members to avoid conflict of interest.
Yeah. Oh,
So
sorry.
it's a little different. I mean, so the next one really explicitly talks about conflict of interest. This one is more like wearing hats, right? This is more about wearing our school board hat versus wearing our parent hat versus wearing our community member hat, taxpayer hat, right? Because we all are taxpayers.
So that's a good distinction, right? Because this is not specifically the conflict of interest
No.
policy. It's more the
In the best interest of,
This is the overarching. Greg, I heard you starting to speak. I'm sorry. What did you have to say?
Yeah, I'm sorry to get a word in here. So, just commenting to Barbara's comments about the word loyalty. My preference is the removal of both loyalties and liking, let's call it the edited draft that was brought into the meeting. And I say that because I look at loyalties to staff organizations as more precise, less broad than interests of staff and organizations, and preferring that broader statement compared to both uses of loyalty in the stricken language.
That's a good point, because it covers, right, it's more broad. It's like, yeah, if you're friends, you aren't necessarily like, I don't know. I mean, I don't use the word loyalty when I think about, oh, but I know so-and-so at the school. But I do think, oh, they're my friend. And that could influence, right? That could influence the thinking, even though I might not
yeah.
view it as loyalty. But it could.
So where are we at?
So I agree.
Go ahead, Greg.
I'm just saying, yes, Barbara, that's what I was saying. And lastly, I like the edit that was brought into the meeting.
Okay. Well, let's vote on it and see where we get. And like I said, if we pass it this time, we can look at it again because we still have to we have to review it and approve it one more time before we actually becomes part of our policy. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Another option, just putting it out there, is
Yep.
just to get rid of the whole policy. If we don't think it offers much value.
And the next one is conflict of
Because
interest.
the next one is much more specific about conflict of interest. And it even defines what a conflict of interest is.
And where did this originate? This was
From our
something
last
that was
meeting,
already,
I think.
I mean, it was just something that was in there that we decided we didn't like the wording of, but it's not mandatory that we have this policy. It's just.
We could rescind it. If it doesn't
Okay.
help us, we could.
Well, let's vote. We have a motion on the floor for
We have
this.
to deal with the
Let's see
motion.
what happens with that, and then we can talk about next steps depending on what happens from that outcome. Fair?
Sure, we could adopt this and then decide we're gonna.
Rescind it.
ditch it.
We could.
We love it, now we're gonna burn it.
All right, so all of those that approve the change to 4.5 board members code of conduct signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, the ayes have it. So at this point, we are moving forward with the board members code of conduct that is up there on the screen. And we will bring it back in 30 days, which means we'll see it again in August and look at it again.
We could put the,
Wait, in 30 days?
Well,
Not
yeah.
in June. Oh, because June's meeting is
June's
too
meeting
soon.
is too soon.
But could we still put on the agenda to discuss it at June's meeting?
like whether we need it or not,
Yeah.
maybe?
Next steps with it?
Maybe. Okay.
I guess I guess what we'd be debating is whether, like the necessity of the policy at all. Like, is there something that it is covering that needs to be covered that isn't already covered by a separate policy that we feel?
I want to ask somebody because we've approved this, and so the next step normally would be 30 days. We look at it again. In 30 days, which would be August, we could decide to just rescind it
Oh, I see.
at that point.
Okay.
So, okay. Ratify BUU's board action of 1/12/26 to expand the pre-K program at Barstow. Can I get someone to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second?
All right, discussion. Do you guys just, my understanding is that you now will have 3-year-olds for 10 hours and your 4-year-olds at 12 hours, same as Otter Valley Unified.
Correct.
Which it wasn't before, which I'm sorry it wasn't because I thought it was. So, okay. Any discussion about that?
It's curious that it has to come to the RNESU.
No, it isn't. Because the preschool programs are all under RNESU. They are not under. They are administered at the district level, but they are They are part of RNESU. That's why it comes here.
Right. But it just doesn't make any sense.
That's why the preschool boundaries kept coming back to us.
Right. Yes.
The
Yeah.
what? The
The
preschool?
preschool boundary.
Oh,
right. We
right.
need, right.
That's always-
Preschool is, and all of the teachers and that kind of stuff are under because it's title. It's a title fund, right? Because it's triple E or it's whatever.
No, it's not a title fund, but it falls under all of the UPK system.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Because it's sort of part of a system. And also, I mean, right now we have a teacher at each building, but there was a time where we have like shared teachers in different places.
So if we were a supervisory district, it'd be a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes more sense.
Keep wishing.
Yeah.
You know, keep wishing.
Yeah, that's our obligatory
So-
Act 73 continued
That's right.
discussion.
That's what we're waiting for. All right. So, any other discussion about this? All right. All those in favor of ratifying the Barstow Board's action of 1/12/26 to expand their pre-K program at Barstow to be the same as Otter Valley's, which is 10 hours for 3-year-olds and 12 hours for 4-year-olds, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think it's,
All those.
Lori,
Yeah.
oh no, that's right, because it's 3 days, never mind.
Please move on with your next comment so I can say mine,
I
okay?
think it is
You got
hours.
it. Okay. So, all those opposed?
Nay, and I'm saying that by virtue of the fact that I voted against it on the Barstow board, so I'm merely being consistent with that and not opposing.
You got it. You don't have to explain yourself. You're good. All right.
Just want to make sure.
Nope. Thank you. Okay. So, but it does pass 3-1. All right. Strategic planning.
So just really quickly on this, I am planning on conducting a strategic planning process for RNESU, for Otter Valley and for Barstow over the next 12 months. Want to make sure that we have a common vision of starting off at RNESU and then tie that into the 2 supervisory districts and then all the way down to the classroom level. And so there's a person in Rutland who I am talking to in order to act as our facilitator, and if that works out, then we'll utilize that person. If not, we'll keep looking. And so please keep an eye out for that process. We'll start in the summer, and then it'll be incorporated into our retreats as well.
Lori, I wanted to, I thought I was right, but I didn't want to speak out of turn. So the programs for 3 and 4-year-old, it's 12 hours and 18 hours.
Oh, whoops.
I just wanted to, because I know that it was a.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
But either way, it's over 10.
Either way, it's over 10.
That's correct.
Yeah. But they're now all going to be the
They
same.
will all be the
All right.
same, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Advocacy. Rural Career Connected Collaborative.
So that's the transcend work that we've been doing with Otter Valley. And so we are at the point now where we started communicating with students and teachers and community members, and we are working on creating a system that right now is operating okay, in that we have a lot of good things going on, but the goal is to have all these good things come together so it is a fully functioning system and everybody knows their role within it. And part of that is, and why we're talking about it here in RNESU, is that we feel like it's important that the conversations of preparing for your career should begin as early as 6th grade. And so that would mean that every school in our supervisory union would be involved.
Great. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Act 73 continued discussions. So as we know, the legislature is trying to wrap up. There are still things that, in reading the VSBA newsletter, the Senate and all of those are trying to wrap up those final education bills that they're trying to pass. One of the things that I was hoping that we could do through our retreats and moving forward into next year is if we could set up, and maybe we already have it, is a timeline that we can continue to provide to our member districts and to our board members so that we see the timeline of how things are supposed to, when things are supposed to be implemented.
Yeah.
You know, so we know that in 3 years we're going to have a foundation formula, probably, maybe. And that we're supposed to have minimum class sizes by a certain date.
Right.
I think, first of all, that's going to be we need that for budgetary purposes,
Right.
but we also need that to inform our community as to what's coming down the pike. That one of the things, and we'll talk about in a second through the OVUU, BUU board update, is change is coming. We know change is coming. We just don't know what that change is, and everyone is resistant to change. We've seen a lot of that too in our communities, and that we don't want change because we love our schools, blah blah blah. But change is coming, and I think it's very important that we try to educate as many people as possible as to what those changes are that we know of or that we assume are coming on what dates, and so that people understand that, you know, we now need to do something here because we can't meet these minimum class sizes, or we can't do this. So that's just one of the things I would like to maybe we can start doing that in one of our next.
And I think embedded within that too is we can't wait.
Right.
So there are things that we have to keep pushing forward in order to make sure that our students are accessing the learning on a regular basis, and so. Right. There are things that we just have to do because they're within our control. Right,
and I think probably it will also affect your strategic plan too, because it'll be part of that. You know, the strategic plan will be based on some of that stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah, it should be no more than a 3-year strategic plan, and if it seems like we'll set it up so that if the legislature keeps kicking the can down the road, we can easily add another couple of years to it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I would just wanted to highlight in the last weekly update from VSBA, they decided to present all the draft legislation is now in one table, so it's much easier to follow, and it's being updated hour by hour by hour, like as soon as something's voted on, so you can see all the bills, their current status, and what are the key issues.
They're late getting out though, are they not? This is late for them.
Oh, yeah, they should have been out before the week.
Right, usually it's the first week of May that they're out. Okay.
Yeah, we have a poll in the office how late they're gonna go.
Oh, okay, well, let's not talk about that. Okay. All right.
I mean, their goal is to get out by Friday, so they have the long weekend, but it's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. Not based on what I saw that they still have to do.
No, they just did something interesting this afternoon with the yield bill.
Oh.
But luckily it doesn't impact us very badly, but it impacts a lot of, there's a proposal to lower the threshold, the excess spending threshold from 118 to 112, and this will just sink a bunch of districts.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right, VSBA resolutions are due by June 15th. I don't know that we have any that we want to do. Otter Valley was talking about trying to do something around healthcare, but I think we already have a VSBA resolution that we're working with trying to get healthcare to be changed because
As a cost driver?
yeah.
Oh, it's the talk of the town.
That's what I
up
figured.
there.
So, you know, because that's one of the things. And I guess the only other resolution that I wonder about putting together is that, and we have to do it here too, is that when we talk about changing one thing, we really have to be talking about changing everything, which is why we're talking strategic plan. That's why we're talking about at Otter Valley facilities and what we expect our buildings to be doing in the next 3 to 5 years as well. I think the state needs to be looking at this as a 5-pronged approach. And I said it to the legislature when we saw them in February, but it is essentially that they need to be looking at public education. Yes, that needs to change.
Yeah.
They need to be looking at healthcare. That needs to change. They need to be looking at infrastructure. That needs to change because roads are horrendous and we can't get anywhere from here. As evidenced by the fact that it takes an hour and a half to get to the interstate practically for anywhere from here. And yet I was in Pennsylvania and Jersey and New York all this weekend, and I could get anywhere I wanted to within like 15 minutes, and I can't get anywhere from here. So it makes me wonder why I want
We
to be
have
in
mountains, and Pennsylvania's pretty flat.
Well, I know, but they have Home Depot and Lowe's within 5 minutes of any place you want to go. So it takes me an hour to get to any of those places. And they need to be looking at housing, which they are trying to do as well, but I don't think in a meaningful way. And there was a 5th one. I'm sure that it would. Anyway, all those need to be. You're not going to fix one without fixing all the others.
Agreed.
So I wondered if we needed a resolution around that.
I'm just looking at the resolutions right now that
Okay.
exist because our timeline is short. It's June 15th is when
Yes.
they're due.
Yep. Well, I can run it through Otter Valley because we have one more board meeting.
Why don't you do that?
But there isn't one in there that is like that.
I'm not seeing it, but I would have to do a control find,
That's all right.
and I'm not exactly sure. But so you're
Maybe not even
suggesting
pick it
like a holistic, an interdependent,
Well, it's the only way to do it. I
Yeah,
mean,
comprehensive.
It has to be because
not in silos.
right. You can't do a silo. It doesn't work that way. We're seeing that
Yeah, we
it doesn't
are.
work.
I'll look. Let me.
Okay.
That'll be a fun
Just get back to me.
project.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to write that one because it's all about
Okay.
interconnect.
Interconnectedness.
Interconnections. Yeah.
Can't say it.
All right.
now for
That's
whatever
okay. So Otter Valley BUU board updates. I'm gonna let BUU go first for their board update, and then we'll give ours.
I've been talking a lot. I'm sure Leo and Greg would.
Hi, Dina.
Hey. Leo or Greg, do you guys want to present on what we did at Monday's meeting? Seems like an ancient, like last year, and it was just this week. What is today? Wednesday.
Today's
Wednesday. It was only 2 days ago.
I'm not sure I could
Yeah.
come up with what happened last night.
That's all
An
right.
awful
Greg,
lot.
what you got?
Let me think here. Without using any notes, clearly. We reviewed one of our policy governance things that Tony had prepared. I neglected to get mine done on time, so we did not do that. We had a couple of executive session items that were not relevant to discuss. And we looked at, let's call it some consistency or reporting method that Debbie Alexander showed us for, let's call it the different ways of looking at either student progress or the progress of the school in the different grades. We've been, I've been critical of not, seeing, are we seeing the same thing each time, and are we getting it reported well? And so Debbie brought forward let's call it a good display and maybe kind of follow up with some explanations so that we can refer back to it each time we want to get our head in the right place we're looking at.
Great.
So I'll stop there and go up to Leo.
Greg, I think you got most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got most of it. Debbie, anything to add?
Yeah, I'll add one little thing. We did decide to move ahead with a resolution to the VSBA.
Okay, and about,
School choice and putting up more
Okay.
guardrails around school choice, especially the trend that we're seeing in our towns of people moving in just to access Killington Mountain
oh,
School.
sure, sure. Yeah, that's a big problem for you.
So we will be submitting that resolution.
Okay, great. So Otter Valley, do you want to take that or do you want me to
I
take that?
can't even remember. It's
Oh my God.
Was it last
Really, it was
night?
last night. It was 4 hours. You can't remember one thing?
I was at a track meet and I was at a meeting. Ay.
All right, so Otter Valley did a few things last night. One of the big things we did is that we have, I don't know if you guys remember Allison Popa from 5 or 6
remember.
years.
Okay.
I reached out to her a couple of weeks ago to ask her to help us do like a task force 2.0.
Yeah.
When in talking with Renee, he had given a couple of people that might be good, but she doesn't live around here, and so she's great because she's unbiased. And she was available, so she is coming back to help us look at our facilities, look at a facilities plan,
Good.
because that's one of the things that we kept hearing during budget season was that we didn't have a plan around facilities. So, which is another reason why doing a strategic plan and our facilities plan kind of gives us a plan or no plan, whatever. So that's one of the things we're doing. We started that process with her last night.
And it went
So-
really well. And she's
I think
great.
so.
And it was
She's
great to
and
see
she's
her. And
right. She's
hear her
trying to pull
voice.
us all together. I mean, we don't have to all have the same woo, but we need to come together as a board, and
And,
that's
and she's got the experience of having done it and
Yeah.
knowing what was in that first task force and what the results were. And so she can answer concerns, which some came up last night about, oh, well, this isn't being done right. And it was done right. It was just 6 years ago and some
Right.
things need to be updated. But we did dig deep when we did it the first
Yes.
time around to ask lots of people in the community what their number one priority was, and middle school model came up over and over, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then COVID happened, you know,
Right.
when they
So,
put the brakes
yeah.
on like it did everything else. But the need is still, presumably, the need is still there. It
well,
seems like
right.
the
So
need
we're
is
gonna do
still
some
there.
more surveys. We're gonna try and survey as many people as we can. We're gonna ask questions. We're gonna look at all of our
We
facilities.
have a great communications director.
Right, we have
who
a
can
communications
assist with that.
director. We're gonna open up each of the schools. So that's why we're working through the summer. We will have meetings where we invite the public to ask them pointed questions and to show them the facilities.
I'm looking forward to that tour of.
Right,
the-
we're doing a tour on June
district.
20th. We're gonna take a bus and we're gonna go around all the facilities. So that'll be fun.
Careful, they might cancel the bus at the last minute.
He can't because it's Rich and he's our he's our driver.
Okay,
So
good.
in worst case scenario, I'll drive the damn bus. So we'll get there. Don't worry. But anyway, and then the other couple things that happened last night that Laura King was here to allude to is that we have a staff member who is very ill and is looking for some additional days beyond what they currently have for saved time, and they're looking for some information around that, and they feel that we have not moved fast enough on that, and so we will be talking about some of that going forward and trying to help the member and also answer some of the other things that came up in the letter that she read tonight. So that's what we're dealing with, and so that's why they want this board to know about it too, because one of the things they want is us to do a memorandum of understanding for a sick bank outside of the contract for this person, so that they can donate days, and so we have to talk about that.
And we heard about an hour's worth of public
Hour and
comment
a
from
half,
staff.
yeah.
Hour and a half. We've heard a lot of public comment this spring.
We have, and yeah. So anyway, so that is what happened last night at Otter Valley, and we will be discussing some of that here and moving forward. Also at Otter Valley as we continue to support our staff members and the rest of our staff and make sure that they get what they need.
I'm pleased to say that the full 13-member board that we now have at Otter Valley is a good thing. It's a really good thing. It's very strong, and the people show up and they contribute.
Good.
So
Yes,
yeah.
although we are losing a member.
We are.
We are.
Who are we?
I'll
Are
tell you in
allowed to-
next
okay.
meeting.
Okay.
So, cat's out of the bag. Okay, anyway, so that's all I got for Otter Valley.
Well, now I just want to know.
I'll tell you later. So anyway, and then the last thing I hear on our agenda before we go to superintendent's announcements is review the 25-26 work plan. We've already pretty much talked about our August retreat, but there was something, so this is a discussion clarification and it's on here because I don't know that we ever fixed it, or I don't even know what it means, but from our 121-26 minutes, there was something about the future summary of how data has been used over the past year. I don't know who asked for it. We tabled it in March because we didn't know anything about it. Is this something that I can just remove, or does anybody know what this
I'm
talks
going to
about?
say that Kevin Thornton brought it up,
That seems like a Kevin thing to ask.
but,
Okay.
I mean, so we can ask him the next time.
All right, so we'll leave it on there. All right, so I'm just gonna.
And I think the other thing is, like, that's a very general statement, so
Right.
we might need more.
More information.
More clarification.
Sure. Okay. Superintendent's announcements.
Okay, so I think the one thing that am very excited to share is that we had students from across the SU participate in the Addison County Civics Bee, and we had students from all across our area either place and win money, or at least advance to the state level where they could potentially win money and advance as well. So we had a couple of brothers place first and fifth from Barstow, and then we had students from Lothrop and Brandon and Lester. I'm not Lothrop, Pittsford, Brandon and Lester compose second, third, fourth place. And
Yay.
That's awesome.
So who gets to go to DC? Just number
Not
one?
yet.
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
There
Okay.
is going to be a state competition in
Okay.
Stowe.
Alright.
They are going to be going up against the Chamber of Commerce winners of the Northeast Kingdom,
Okay.
and then we'll see how that So
Yeah.
I think if they sent 5. I don't know how many of them are going to DC, but we have a really good chance of sending a few kids to DC, which is going to be great.
Awesome.
The other thing about this particular superintendent's report is that there was also I added a director coordinator reports as well too. So you could see so you'll be getting these on a monthly basis as well. So that way you can see all the different things that are going on in the district, not just from the superintendent, but from the central office, so that people have a better understanding of all the things that are going on at this time.
Okay. Cool. Anything else from Renee? Okay. Then our next meeting is set for Wednesday, June 17th, here at 5:30. We do have to have an executive session, so I would entertain a motion to go on an executive session at 7:33.
So moved. I move we, what's the purpose?
Second, negotiations.
Okay.
And we'll have Debbie in there as well, and Renee.
Okay,
And Dina.
okay. So I move we enter into executive session for the purpose of
Negotiations.
negotiations.
Yeah. So Debbie and Barbara. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Then we are in executive session at 7:33.